Just leave the ladybugs alone, hey? They're doing good jobs. What are the ladybugs doing, Etienne? Yes, by how do they do that? By eating them, yes. Perfect. So we like ladybugs, eh? Okay. Good morning. Sorry. Priorities. I just wanted to quickly chat about that. I alluded in that previous video, the worm farms, in the text in that sausage tree flour FPJ video, fermented plant juice video. And this is the sort of the follow-up on that. We just chat about that and the idea behind it. Worm farm is, we can have a progressive system. So we'll fill these up with the worms. Then once they've eaten through the contents of the boxes, because there's holes at the bottom, see, and we'll put in another box on top. The box fit on top nicely. And then the worms, then we'll start feeding on top, and then the worms should slowly move through to the next layer. Then once that's, so then it will turn into a continuous system. Again, that's the theory. You can see these bins, the soil is, look at that. It is just almost pure worm castings now. So we're going to empty all of these bins and move it into these 4. And they'll go underneath the chicken coop. I'll show you just now. I put corrugated iron underneath. You can see the design there. Cut that white pipe, cut slits into it, slip that in, so when you pour water on, it filters through, hits the corrugated iron, goes into the pipe and comes into the bucket. Quite simple plumbing. But once those boxes start filling up, you take off the shade cloth that I keep on the top, and you put the next layer, just simply put it on top. You'll have it like that, and then you'll just start putting soil and the garden, the kitchen mix on top of that, and over time you'll find that the worms will move through into the next box, and that's how you'll leave it. And then after a month or 2 months or so, most of the worms would have moved up by themselves, and then you can just take the bottom box out, drop the top box down to the bottom, and hey presto. I'm not too worried about the eggs itself. The eggs, that soil that we use is part and parcel of the garden plan. So I'll mix it with the compost just before I apply it to the garden. I won't let the worms sit in the compost because the compost does generate heat and I might lose some worms. So once the compost is properly mature, and it's part and parcel of the new design of the kitchen coop and the composting system, which is a future video. You want the compost to be properly mature and will not generate any more heat. That's at that point where I'll add the worms. And the worms in the garden, I'll need to show you. It's been absolute amazing development. Call it a miracle almost. When we got here, if you watch that very first video, it shows you before and after pictures. This was building rubble and clay, and I struggled to find any worms, and I had to buy worms to start this whole process. And now with the way that I've been composting using this worm castings mixed in, I'm starting to see worms everywhere. You struggle to dig in this garden and not see worms. Now the great benefit of that is it comes back down to that nutrient cycling that it's been the whole focus of the garden is, and I alluded to it in one of my Instagram posts. About the one morning I counted over 10 different kinds of mushrooms, and a mushroom is a thing that creates us, the mycorrhizal mushrooms creates us relationships, symbiotic you could say, with a lot of the plants, and it trades minerals and nutrients with the plant, and the plant in return gives the fungi carbs and sugars. So there's a direct trade there happening between fungi and a lot of the plants in the garden, and that is effective because a lot of bacteria in the garden are breaking down the minerals and the nutrients that trade can happen. It's obviously a lot more complex than that, but in essence, that's the crux of it. So what's important here is that the bacteria, it's not just the stuff that we've been brewing and culturing and stuff. I'm doing a very limited slither of what within the system of the garden, but inside the bellies of most animals, especially herbivores and worms, is a whole range of different bacteria, and they release that, and those bacteria is what breaks it down. And having this amount of worms on, you start seeing the nutrients and the mineral cycling is just exploded in the garden, and I attribute it to the worms. And I can only imagine how much more effective that's going to become once we introduce the chickens to the garden. As soon as a garden without animals I don't think we are anywhere close to understanding how entwined that relationship is between plants and animals. I don't think we can even fathom it. That's just an opinion of mine, because I'm seeing it almost daily as you start to integrate more and more life with each other, those links in diversity. Anyway, I'm waffling on a bit. It was supposed to be a short video just about the worm farms, but I don't think anyone can underestimate the value of worms in a garden system. Anyway, that was a long one. It's supposed to be a short one. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. And geez, hopefully we get the chooks quickly. Cheers, bye.